कामक्रोधापरायणः
Ihante kama bhogartam
ईहन्ते कामभोगार्थम्
अन्यायेनार्थ sanshayan.
अन्यायेनार्थसञ्चयान्.
So they means the demons believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until end of their life, their anxiety is immeasurable. Bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. So, again, this is the story of the demons. The demoniac accept that enjoyment of senses is the ultimate goal of life, and this concept they maintain until death. They do not believe in life after death. They do not believe that one takes on different types of bodies according to one's karma or activities in this world. So our bodies are a result of our activities. Their plans for life are never finished, and they go on preparing plan after plan, all of which are never finished. So we have an experience of a person of that demonic mentality who until the point of death was requesting his physician to prolong his life for 4 years more because his plans were not yet complete. Thus foolish people do not know that a physician cannot prolong life even for a moment. When the notice is there, there is no consideration of the man's desire. So when the notice comes from the Lord, time is up, our desire has no meaning at that point. The laws of nature do not allow a second beyond what one is destined to enjoy or suffer even. For that matter, even suffering is not permanent. So the demoniac person who has no faith in God or super soul within himself performs all kinds of sinful activities simply for sense gratification. He does not know that there is a witness sitting within the heart. The super soul is observing the activities of the individual soul. As it is stated in the Upanishads, there are two birds sitting in one tree. One is acting and enjoying or suffering the fruits of the branches, and the other is witnessing. But one who is demoniac has no knowledge of the Vedic scripture, right? Nor he has any faith. Therefore, he feels free to do anything for sense enjoyment, regardless of consequence. So this is the story of demons. They'll do anything that comes to their mind, regardless of whether scripture says this is good or bad. They say, don't care. Like sometimes you'll hear people saying, right? You say, hey, why don't you do like this? You say, I don't care. I'll just do it, regardless. Which means they are displaying that demoniac propensity. Nobody is a permanent demon. Nobody is a permanent devata. Demons, usually, once you have that little demoniac propensity, it keeps increasing, right? They'll do one thing, they'll get away with that. Then they'll do the second thing, they'll get away with that, right? So in this way, it never seems to end. This propensity will keep on troubling us. So one other plan is preparing plan after plan. I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do this, like that. And nothing gets finished, because how can all the plans be finished, right? So then comes the point of death. And when the point of death comes, most of our plans are unfinished, right? Like they'll say, okay, we'll go to Mars, human beings will go to Mars, we'll do this, we'll build a wall across the border, at the border, so that people cannot sneak into the country. No, none of the projects are finished, even till day, right? They'll just keep on. People will be planning, but they'll never be done. Why? Because they have no faith in God or super soul within himself. So they don't think that God is in control or the super soul, which is Paramatma within the body. So God is there in the spiritual world as Bhagwan. He is there in your heart as Paramatma. And then he is there in every atom of this universe as Brahman, Right? Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Those are the three different states. It's the same person, just like water has ice, water, and steam. All three are the same, but at the same time they're different. Right? They have the same source. So, in the same way, the Supreme Lord manifests as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So now let's go on to the next one. Idam adya maya labdham
Idam adya maya labdham.
imam prapse manoratam
Imam prapse manoratam.
idam ashtidam api me
Idam astitam api me.
bhavishyati punardhanam
Bhavishyati punardhanam.
asau maya hatau shatrur.
Asau maya hatau satur.
No, hatah shatrur
Hatashatrur.
hanishye chaparanapi
Hanishe chaparan api.
ishvaroham aham bhogi
Ishvaroham aham bhogi.
siddho aham balavan sukhi
Siddho aham balavan sukhi.
adhyo bijanasvamasmi
Adyo abhis janam janam
janavam
janavan asmi. Janavan asmi.
ko anyo asti sadriso maya
Kovanyo asti sadraso maya.
yakshe dasyami modisya
Yakshe dashyami modishya.
iti ajnana vimohitaha.
Iti ajnana vimohitaha.
A demonic person thinks, so much wealth I have today, I'll gain more according to my schemes. They're always doing schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I've killed him. And my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. Right? So you'll see a lot of people around us. They just want to keep on increasing their wealth. They think they are the enjoyer. They think they are perfect, powerful, and happy. All the relatives are there when you have name and power. So this is the life of a demon, right? Which is a large proportion of the population, anyways. Right? Very few people are saying, "Yeah, I'll be content. I don't need more money." Nobody's like that. I mean, very few people are like that. So next, Aneka Chitta Vibhranta
Aneka chitta vibranta.
Mohajala Samavritaha
Mohajala samavrtaha.
Prakasha Prakashtaha Kamabogeshu
Prasha, prashaktaha kamaboheshu.
Patanti Narake Sucha.
Patanti narake asucham.
Thus perplexed means confused by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down into hell. Right? So when we get too strongly attached to sense enjoyment, we actually go to hell. Very clearly. Narake Suchau. Naraka means hellish planet. The demoniac man knows no limit to his desire to acquire money. It is unlimited. He thinks only of how much assessment he has just now and schemes to engage that stock of wealth further and further. For that reason, he does not hesitate to act in any sinful way and so deals in the black market for these illegal gratification. He's enamored. Enamored means he's like very desirous of possessions. He already has such as land, family, house, bank balance, and is always planning to improve them. He believes in his own strength and does not know whatever is gaining is due to past good deeds. He is given an opportunity to accumulate such things, but he has no conception of past causes. That people think that they are working hard and therefore they're getting it, but in reality they are getting it due to past good deeds, karma. He simply thinks that all his mass of wealth is due to his own endeavor. A demoniac person believes in the strength of his personal work, not in the law of karma. According to the law of karma, a man takes his birth in a high family or becomes rich or well educated or very beautiful because of good work in the past. The demoniac think that all these things are accidental due to the strength of one's personal ability. They do not sense any arrangement behind the varieties of people, beauty, and education. Anyone who comes into competition with such a demoniac man is his enemy. So, even if you seem to be doing better than such people, they'll immediately become envious. They'll say, "Oh, why is this person doing better than me?" They don't give credibility to past karma. According to law of karma, a man takes his birth in high family or becomes very rich, very well educated, or beautiful because of good work in the past. So we all have good education, which means we have done some good karma in the past. We all have decent jobs. That is also a sign of some good karma in the past. So it's not like we are working very hard, although that is there. You have to still be sincere in what you're doing. But you'll only get it if there is some past karma. The demoniac think that all these things are accidental due to strength of work in the past. They do not sense any arrangement behind these varieties of people, beauty, and education. See, varieties of people. So some are beautiful, some are ugly. Why? Work in the past. Some people get very good education. They don't have to try it. Naturally, it comes to them. Again, past karma. Anyone who can come in contemplation with such a demoniac man is his enemy. So if you go to the demoniac man and say, no, 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 this is all due to past karma, so there's no use to spend too much time doing whatever you're doing, as a person will become very angry. There are many demoniac people, and each is enemy to the other. Enemy becomes more and more between persons, families, societies, and nations. So every demoniac person thinks that he can live at the sacrifice of all others. So they'll just come and bulldoze you, right? Because the demoniac person will have their own self agenda. And maybe we are also bulldozing other people. We also have that little demoniac propensity. They'll say, why are you seeking God elsewhere? Don't believe in God, throw away God, God is dead. All these are famous quotes from various people, demoniac people. Okay, Nagaprabhu, can you read the remaining purport?
Sure, bro. Although the demoniac person sees other equally rich and influential, or even more so, he thinks that no one is richer than he and that no one is more influential than he. As far as promotions to higher planetary systems is concerned, he does not believe in performing yajnas or sacrifices. Demons thinks demons think that they will manufacture their own process of yajna and prepare some machine by which they will be able to reach any higher planet. The best example of such demonic man was Ravana. He offered a program to the people by which he would prepare a staircase so that anyone could reach the heavenly planets without performing sacrifices, such as are such as are prescribed in the Vedas. Similarly, in the present age, such demonic men are striving to reach the higher planetary system by mechanical arrangements. These are examples of bewilderment. The result is that without their knowledge, they are gliding towards hell. Here, the Sanskrit word mohajala is very significant. Jala means net. Like fish caught in a net, they have no way to come out.
Mhm. So these people, the demoniac people, are captured in jala.
Mohajala.
Jala means net, but which is what kind of jala it is? Not a fisherman's net. It is moha. Moha means illusion. So in this illusory thing, they think that everybody is praising them. They can do whatever they want to do. They are very successful like that. In this thought, they pretty much die. Atmasambhava vitaha stabda
Atmasambhavitaha stabada stab,
stabda
stabda
dhanamanamadhan vitaha
dhanamana madnavintaha
yajante nama yajnaiste
yajante nama yajnas yajnasthe
dambe na vidhipurvakam.
tambe navidi purvakam.
Self-complacement and already always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige. They sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in name only, without following any rules and regulations. So there's delusion by wealth and false prestige. Two things can bring a man down very quickly. One is delusion of wealth. Second is delusion of false prestige. People are giving you too much honor, so you just get puffed up, pumped up. And then suddenly somebody stops giving you honor, then your balloon is deflated, and then you will become senseless. You'll just keep going. So, Sarvana, can you read the purport?
Yes, Prabhu. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Thinking themselves all in all, not caring for any authority or scripture, the demoniacs sometimes perform so called religious or sacrificial rites. And since they do not believe in authority, they are very impudent. This is due to illusion caused by accumulating some wealth and false prestige. Sometimes such demons take up the role of preacher, mislead the people, and become known as religious reformers or as incarnations of God. They make a show of performing sacrifices, or they worship the demigods, or manufacture their own God. Common men advertise them as God and worship them, and by the foolish they are considered advanced in the principles of religion or in the principles of spiritual knowledge. They take the dress of the renounced order of life and engage in all nonsense in the dress. Actually, there are so many restrictions for one who has renounced this world. The demons, however, do not care for such restrictions. They think that whatever path one can create is one's own path. There is no such thing as a standard path one has to follow. The word avidi purvakam, meaning a disregard for the rules and regulations, is especially stressed here. These things are always due to ignorance and illusion.
Yeah, avidhi purvakam. Vidhi means proper process. Once you put a, it becomes improper process. They disregard, means they just simply don't care. And they make a show of performing sacrifices. Right? So they'll just go on their name, they'll get some puja done. But internally, they are still demons. Why? Illusion caused by accumulation, wealth, and false prestige. Once you have some accumulation of wealth and false prestige, you start thinking that you are something very special, and then the downfall begins. Ahankaram balam darpam
Ahankaram balam darpam.
Kamam krodam cha samstritaha.
Kamam krodam cha samstritaha.
Mamatma paradeheshu.
Mamatma paradeheshu.
Pradvisanto abhyasuyaktaha.
Pradi, prad, pradvisanto abhyasuyakha.
Wielded by false ego, strength, pride, lust, anger, the demons becomes envious of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion. So, what do? They ignore the Paramatma in the heart, and sometimes they start criticizing the real religion. A demoniac person, being always against God's supremacy, does not like to believe in the scriptures. He is envious of both scriptures and existence of Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is caused by so-called prestige and accumulation of wealth and strength. He does not know that the present life is a preparation for the next life. Not knowing this, he is actually envious of his own self as well as of others. He commits violence on other bodies and even on his own body. Like Hiranyakashipu, when he was doing this tapasya, he was, torturing his own body. He does not care for supreme control of the personality of Godhead because he has no knowledge, ignorance. Ignorance is where everything starts. Being envious of the scriptures and the Supreme Personality, he puts forward false arguments against the existence of God and denies the scriptural authority. He thinks himself independent and powerful in every action. He thinks that since no one can equal him in strength, power, or wealth, he can act in any way and no one can stop him. If he has an enemy who might check the advancement of his sensual activities, he makes plans to cut him down by his own power. Right? So, always saying, okay, this is my enemy, I have to slow him down, I have to cut him down, ignoring scriptural authority, thinking that no one can equal him in his strength. So, this is the demonic quality. So, we all start out as demons. We all have these qualities in some proportion, but gradually, as we hear the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, come to the temple, chant Hare Krishna, most importantly, chant Hare Krishna, because then you're directly in connection with the Supreme Lord. Those tendencies will go down. And the entire universe seems to be a place where you can actually do good things. So devotion will actually change us from a demoniac mentality to a divine mentality. So it's a mindset shift, as they call it. So it's the same view that you go from having demoniac thoughts to divine thoughts. Tanaham dvisataha kruran.
Tanaham tvistaha kuraran.
Kruran. Kruran means very cruel.
Kruran.
Samsareshu naradhaman.
Samsareshu naradhaman.
Asurisveva yonisu.
Asuresu iva yonisu.
Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest amongst men, I perpetually cast them into ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. So this is very dangerous. Like if you insist on being envious and mischievous, what the Lord does is next life, put you in demoniac species. And even in demons, there are various gradations. So again, if you misbehave, he'll put you down even further down. And if you're openly atheistic, claiming God doesn't exist, he'll put you down further. In this way, he'll put you down, down, down into various demoniac species. Because demons do like to do these things, we end up in the demon species. Okay. Shiva, can you read?
Hare Krishna. In this verse, it is clearly indicated that the placing of a particular individual soul in a particular body is the prerogative of the supreme will. The demonic person may not agree to accept the supremacy of the Lord, and it is a fact that he may act according to his own whims, but his next birth will depend upon the decision of the Supreme Personality of God and not on himself. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, it is stated that an individual soul after his death is put into the womb of a mother where he gets a particular type of body under the supervision of superior power. Therefore, in the material existence, we find so many species of life, animals, insects, men, and so on. All are arranged by the superior power. They are not accidental. As for the demonic, it is clearly said here that they are perpetually put into the wombs of demons and thus they continue to be envious, the lowest of mankind. Such demonic species of men are held to be always full of lust, always violent and hateful, and always unclean. The many kinds of hunters in the jungle are considered to belong to the demonic species of life.
Yeah, but nowadays you'll find hunters also in the cities. Right? Hunter means not just animal hunting. These hunters are women hunting, chasing after women, troubling other people. So yeah, they're all demoniac. Asuram yonim
Asuram yonim apanna
Muda janmani janmani
Moda janmani janmani
Mama prepyaiva kaunteya
Mam aprapyaviya apra Mam aprapyaiva kaunteya
Tato yanti adamam gatim.
Tato yanti adamam gaitim.
So, attaining repeated birth among the species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. So, remember last verse he said, I'll put people who are mischievous and cruel, I'll put them into demoniac species. Right? And now he's saying gradually they sink down to the most abominable. Means, so third class demon to second class demon to first class demon. Right? So, very, very cruel forms this person will start taking. So, please read Nagaprabhu.
It is known that God is all merciful, but here we find that God is never merciful to the demonic. It is clearly stated that the demoniac people, life after life, are put into the womb of similar demons and not achieving the mercy of the Supreme Lord. They go down and down. So they at last they so that at last they achieve bodies like those of cats, dogs, and hogs. It is clearly stated that such demons have practically no chance of receiving the mercy of God at any stage of later life. In the Vedas also, it is stated that such persons gradually sink to become dogs and hogs. It may be then argued in this connection that God should not be advertised as all merciful if he is not merciful to such demons. In answer to this question, in the Vedanta Sutra, we find that the Supreme Lord has no hatred for anyone. The placing of an asura, the demons, in the lowest status of life is simply another feature of his mercy. Sometimes the asuras are killed by the supreme lords, but this killing is also good for them. For in Vedic literature, we find that anyone who is killed by the Supreme Lord becomes liberated. There are instances in history of many asuras, Ravana, Kamsa, Hiranyakashipu, to whom the Lord appeared in various incarnations just to kill them. Therefore, God's mercy is shown to the asuras if they are fortunate enough to be killed by him.
Hmm. So, yeah, I went too fast. Even getting killed by the Lord is God's mercy. So it's
Mercy.
not like God is only taking care of devatas and not taking care of asuras. No. For devatas, by giving rewards, and for asuras, by eliminating their existence. Because asura, there is also a soul in the body of an asura. They were all originally good people, but somehow or the other, that fellow is behaving like an asura due to constant offenses against the Holy Lord. So that's what gets. That's what happens basically. Trividam narakasyedam
Trividam narakashyedam
dwaram nasanam atmanaha
dvaram nasanamatmanaha
kamaha krodhastatha lobhas
kamaha krodhastatha lobhas
tasmadetattrayam tyajet.
tasmadetas
Sorry.
sorry
Tasmadetat
tasmadetat trayam tejas tajet.
tyajet. It's basically tyag. Tyag means giving up. Tyajet means one must give up like that.
Tajet.
There are three gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give up these, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. How many? Three gates. And what are those? Lust, anger, and greed. And if you look at the modern lifestyle, these are the three things everybody has. They are lusty for name, fame, money, whatever. They become angry easily, even if you scratch them a little bit. And they're very greedy for some kind of benefit or the other. Every sane man should give this up. They lead to degradation of the soul. Because soul, even after getting purified through various processes, it will again degrade if you have these three characteristics: lust, anger, and greed. Okay, Shiva, read.
Hare Krishna. One second.
What if they're not close
Sorry.
to the system?
अच्छा.
Then unmute your Nama.
चलो.
The beginning of demonic life is described herein. One tries to satisfy his lust, and when he cannot, anger and greed arise. The sane man who does not want to glide down in the species of demonic life must try to give up these three enemies, which can kill the self to such an extent that there will be no possibility of liberation from this material entanglement.
Yeah, so again, this is a continuation of chapter 2, where we talk about lust leading to desire. Actually, when contemplating on objects of senses in 2.62 and 63, lust arises. If lust is satisfied, fine. If it's not satisfied, anger arises. If lust is satisfied, greed arises. Then I want more. First, I want one bicycle. Then once that is satisfied, then I want one motorbike. Then that is satisfied. Now I want one car. That is satisfied. I want a more expensive car. In this way, satisfaction of lust will result in greed, and not satisfaction of lust will give anger. So both of them are challenging. And both of them, if they are too much in quantity, they can kill the self to such an extent, no possibility of liberation, which means they will simply cover you up so much that you cannot be liberated. This is a challenge actually. So then how not to be greedy? It's a challenge, right? We have to train our mind. We have to train our mind control. You should say, no, I don't want it. I don't need it, first of all. Right? For example, somebody will say, okay, I'll give you $1 million. Your position should be, okay, I don't need it. Why do I need it, right? Unless, of course, you are at a very elevated level and then you say, oh, yeah, Krishna sent me some money. I'll build a temple with it, or I'll glorify the Lord using various processes. Otherwise, you don't need it. Because if you say, okay, I need it, and you take possession of it, then greed arises. You want more, 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 more. That is the reality. Etar vimuktaha kaunteya
एतार्विमुक्त कौन्तेय
tamo dvare striver naraha
तमोद्वारस्थित्रिभिर्नरः
achariti atmanah shreyas
आचरति आत्मनः श्रेयस्
tato yati param gatim.
ततो याति परां गतिम्.
The man who has escaped these three gates of hell performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. So these three gates of hell are there. But if you perform activities which are suited for self-realization, liberation, then we can attain to that supreme destination. But usually people don't escape these three gates of hell. Lust will capture, greed will capture, and anger will capture. Anybody. Sarvana, please read the purport.
Purport. One should be very careful of these three enemies to human life: lust, anger, and greed. The more a person is freed from lust, anger, and greed, the more his existence becomes pure. Then he can follow the rules and regulations enjoined in the Vedic literature. By following the regulative principles of human life, one gradually raises himself to the platform of spiritual realization. If one is so fortunate by such practice to rise to the platform of Krishna consciousness, then success is guaranteed for him. In the Vedic literature, the ways of action and reaction are prescribed to enable one to come to the stage of purification. The whole method is based on giving up lust, greed, and anger. By cultivating knowledge of this process, one can be elevated to the highest position of self realization. This self realization is perfected in devotional service. In that devotional service, the liberation of the conditioned soul is guaranteed. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, there are instituted the four orders of life and the four statuses of life called the caste system and the spiritual order system. There are different rules and regulations for different castes or divisions of society, and if a person is able to follow them, he will be automatically raised to the highest platform of spiritual realization. Then he can have liberation without a doubt.
Yeah, so what is this four caste and four spiritual order system called in Sanskrit?
Varnashrama Dharma.
Varnashrama, yeah. This morning I had a talk with Nityananda Prabhu, who is a president of Dallas Temple. And he was talking about how we should establish Varnashrama. Right? He said many points. He said the entire world will at some point has to be Krishna conscious. And if you're always just sticking to this temple-based life, then people will either lose interest or start fighting amongst each other. So we need to have that strong Varnashrama process where society is governed by these 4 states. Because if everybody says I'm a Brahmana, then who will listen to the instruction? Or if everybody says I'm a Kshatriya, then they'll be fighting all the time. Right? So you need to have a balance. 1 Brahmana, maybe 5 Kshatriyas, 10 Vaishyas, and rest are all Shudras, because that is how the structure is. You cannot have too many CEOs and too many presidents and vice presidents. So there'll be a vast majority of the people on the Shudra platform. Means Shudra, there's nothing wrong with being that. It is just like worker class. Everybody is almost a worker nowadays. We all work for somebody. So this system, 4x4 matrix of Varna and Ashrama, will allow us to gradually develop love towards God. All right? Just like if you jog every day, your body is becoming gradually healthy. Right? So in the same way, this Varnashrama system is structured in such a way that if the 4 Varnas cooperate with each other, not exploit, then there will be societal progress. Again, societal progress is not material. Progress means the worship of the Lord takes a lot of form. So progress means we have to basically worship in that structure, not out of your free will or your whims and fancies. Yah Shastra Vidhi Mustrijya
Yakshastra Vidhi Mudrishya
Ut Srijya. So Ut is one word, Srijya means giving up.
Utsrajya
Vartate Kamakartah
Vartikam Kamakartatha
Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti
Siddhim avapnoti
Bhoti
Na Sukam Na Param Gatim.
Sukam na Ram Gatim.
So he means anybody who discards, means gives up, scriptural injunctions, injunction means rules, and acts according to his own whims, means whatever comes to your mind. That's why there is a saying, whims and fancies. Attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. So while he is on the planet Earth, he will not have perfection. He'll always be confused. And therefore, he is not happy. And therefore, and in parallel, he will not go to the supreme destination, which means liberation. Right? So, scripture should be followed. The scripture says Varnashrama should be followed. So, this whole system of Varnashrama was talking to Nityananda Prabhu. He's saying, yeah, there has to be a few Brahminical people who will guide others. And there should be a lot of people who are willing to do the work also, physically. If everybody is a guide, then who will work? And if everybody is a worker, who will guide? So you need guides or teachers, brahmanas. You need somebody to protect, kshatriyas. He was saying that at one point the Dallas temple was attacked by some, Christian white supremacists. They wanted to scare the Hare Krishnas. So luckily, the people in the temple, they also had guns. So they shot back while these people were firing at the temple. And then the other party realized, that these people are not so calm as we think they are. So they're right? So you need Kshatriyas. It's not like you only need Brahmanas, everybody's chanting Hare Krishna. You need some people to chant Hare Krishna. Actually, everybody should chant Hare Krishna. But some people should also be trained in martial arts. Self-defense, community defense, how to use guns. Because when somebody attacks, you should be able to defend. One of the reasons why India was under foreign rule for so long is everybody said, yeah, we have to be nice to each other. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. We have to be very peaceful. So everybody became very peaceful. King Ashoka also took Buddhism, became very peaceful. And then the onslaught of Muslims started coming. And there was nobody to really, people were still fighting, but people didn't have the same zeal and vigor to fight. As a result, India was under foreign subjugation. Right? So you need Kshatriyas. Then you need Vaishyas, traders, and people who take care of land and cows. I keep talking about farms, farm communities. Somebody has to do that. Otherwise, how will you get food? Then you'll be at the mercy of the current supply chain, and current supply chain may or may not last forever. Right now, we live on a plateau. There are trucks coming up the plateau to deliver food. After the world's petrol supply is finished and you don't have enough trucks and not all of them have been electrified, then you won't have food on the planet because somebody has to climb the hill, right, to deliver your food. So therefore, you need Vaishyas in any society to grow food and take care of the cows, take care of the land, trading. And then you need Shudras. Two, once they are protected, once the framework is set up in trading, once the Brahminical framework of guidance is given, then the Shudras spin into action and execute upon that. Actually, most of the people in the world are Shudras because everybody is working, right? Not everybody is giving guidance according to scriptures. Those people are called Brahmanas, who guide according to scripture. And people who are willing to die are called Kshatriyas. And traders and caretakers of farms are Vaishyas. So those three, most people cannot do this above three. So therefore those people are termed Shudras, and Krishna says Chaturvarnam Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vivagasaha, based on guna, characteristics, and karma, activities. Swabhava means their personal inclination. Each one of us has certain inclination to do something. You are not me, I am not you. Right? Everybody has some unique inclination. So that establishment of those four orders, that is the thing that is being mentioned. That is the Varnashrama. Right? But when somebody acts according to lust, greed, and anger, then the balance breaks. Right? Srila Prabhupada says the word kama karata is very significant. Karataha means doing something. Aha means the act of doing, right? Kama means lust. Based on excessive lust, you do things. And a person who knowingly violates the rules acts in lust. So when you're acting in lust, the rules don't matter. You say, who cares about that? Let me do. He knows what should be done, but he still does not do it. And we see a lot of that examples in the world. That's why it's called whimsical. They cannot have perfection. So human life is meant for purifying one's existence. So if somebody says, what is the purpose of existence? You should not say, work hard, study hard, get a good job, make a lot of money, spend a lot of money, and then die. That is not the goal. Human life is, that is also, a mini goal, but especially meant, Prabhupada says, especially meant for purifying one's existence. So you have to purify our existence. And one who does not follow the rules and regulations cannot purify. This is why rules are important. If you don't follow the rules, you will not purify. Even physically, right? If you don't take bath for 6 days, body will stink. How is it pure? Same thing. If you don't chant the Hare Krishna mantra for a few days, mind stinks. And when mind stinks, your words stink. Right? So that's why you'll see people using all kinds of bad language, bad activity, because this mind is not purified. So rules and regulations are not just to be written on a piece of paper, put on the board and forgotten. Right? They are, if you practice them properly, then the soul is purified. And then you can think of higher things. So it's not like you don't have anything to do after you purify yourself. Then you are thinking about higher order things, systems, like pleasing the Supreme Lord, in arts and culture. Like if you look at temples, right? Such a beautiful art and culture is there. An impure person cannot create those things. Like, in before people used to carve the deities, they used to like chant 64 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra or Om or whatever, and take bath, and then they will sit down to carve the deity. So because they realized that we have to be pure, right, to be able to do something for the deity, for the betterment of society. But now what people are doing, they're not doing it, and therefore they are not pure. Like even amongst your friends and relatives, very few people are pure. Why? Because externally they may look very good, nice clothes, suit, but internally mind is stinking. So therefore they cannot do the things, spiritual things. Tasmat shastram pramanam te
Tasmat Shastram Paramam Namte
karya vyavastita
Karya Karya Vavastito
nyatva shastra vidanoktam
Yatva Shastra Vidanokam
karma kartum iharhasi.
Karma Kartumi Harhasi.
Kartum means doing. Karma kartum, activities. So one should therefore, why therefore? Because the previous verse it said one should follow shastras, right? Which have give the rules and regulations. One should therefore understanding what is duty and what is not duty. Right? Karya, akarya. By the regulations of the scriptures, not by your own mind. So that's why whatever we do, like Purushottam month, some people are fasting one time, some people are fasting from grains, some people are fasting from sweets this month. Why? Because it is written in the scripture. If you do these things, you get purified. So knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. Right? So even a Shudra or even lower than a Shudra, a Chandala can become a Brahmana. How? By following the rules and regulations, which are no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit activities outside of marriage. Right? So, knowing such rules and regulations, we should act. Okay, Sarvana, read the purport.
As stated in the 15th chapter, all the rules and regulations of the Vedas are meant for knowing Krishna. If one understands Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita and becomes situated in Krishna consciousness, engaging himself in devotional service, he has reached the highest perfection of knowledge offered by the Vedic literature. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made this process very easy. He asked people simply to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and to engage in the devotional service of the Lord and eat the remnants of foodstuff offered to the deity. One who is directly engaged in all these devotional activities is to be understood as having studied all Vedic literature. He has come to the conclusion perfectly. Of course, for the ordinary persons who are not in Krishna consciousness or who are new Vedas, one should act accordingly without argument. That is called following the principles of Shastra or scripture. Shastra is without the four principal defects that are visible in the conditioned soul. Imperfect senses, the propensity for cheating, certainty of committing mistakes, and certain conditioned life disqualify one from putting forth the rules and regulations. Therefore, the rules and regulations, as described in the Shastra, being above these defects, are accepted without alteration by all great saints, acharyas, and great souls.
Yeah, this is the most important thing. We have 4 principal defects. Our senses are imperfect. We cannot see very far. We cannot hear very much. There is a propensity for cheating. Because our senses are imperfect, we try to cover it up by propensity to cheat. And we have the certainty of committing mistakes. Means we will make mistakes because we have the propensity to cheat and our senses are imperfect. So we will make mistakes. And then the certainty of being illusioned. So we are illusioned because of the above 3 problems, right? And conversely, you can flip all these argument around. So we are illusioned because we are in Maya, we are in this material world. And because of that, we develop propensity for cheating. And since our senses are imperfect anyways, we make mistakes. So these 4 variables can be taken in any order. So these 4 principal defects disqualify one from putting forth rules and regulations. So because we are under this influence of these 4 problems, you cannot say, okay, I will start a new religion, I'll put down these rules. No, it's simply not possible. Therefore, great Acharya said, check what the Supreme Lord said in Shastra as everything. And since then, so many new religions have come, which take a little bit from the old and add something new. And over a period of hundreds and thousands of years, when everybody starts adding their own little new thing and taking out one old thing, there is nothing original left anymore. It all becomes a junk. And that's what's happening to religion right now. People are creating their own rules. And when you tell them the real thing, they'll say no. And they get angry, actually. They might even attack you if you tell them the real thing. So when you are teaching these principles to your family and friend, you have to do it carefully. Do it at the right time, right situation. And then you may get the desired results. It's not guaranteed always that just because you presented it well, people will receive it well. Okay, we'll stop there. Any thoughts? Any discussion? Okay, we'll end early today. I'm feeling a little tired.
Sure.
Okay, so see you all next week.
Sure.
Thank you for coming.
Okay.
And Hare Krishna every day. And be happy.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.